Hi everyone. I wasn't going to do the second flower and vase for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. Just needed to have a little break for a minute. But however, I started to doodle around. I was watching Jennifer Clarston videos and I just got inspired to do little snippets with little tiny bits of stitching on. But as I was doing it, I was realizing I was doing some thread painting and I really liked it and thought, oh, I actually do want to incorporate this flower into a piece. So then I thought I should do the second flowers in a vase. It wasn't as necessary, being as I'm working on just my, just the panel, each panel. So what I thought, as I've been looking at different artists, I ended up looking at this and thinking it's a bit pop arty. So I thought I'd look at pop art. So I've got a couple of examples. So this flag by Jasper Johns. There was a couple of movies that were out at the time. So they've definitely got like a solid primary colour kind of feel about them. This yellow that's sort of through it and the red and the blue. This cartoony kind of look that was part of the pop art movement, that's a Roy Lichtenstein, Sweet Dreams Baby it's called. So it was 1966. Jasper Johns is 54 to 55. And this one is The Still Life by Tom Wesselman, which I thought was interesting because it's got a vase of flowers, but it's got fruit and a picture. So all of that. And then I also thought about how Andy Warhol was quite strong. He's probably the most well-known in the pop art movement, and his tins of soup. And so when I was doing this and looking at it, I thought, oh, actually, possibly this could be sitting in a tin of soup. So I thought I'd just come on and finish stitching the line work that I'm doing around it. So I've done everything as far as the thread painting goes. I don't know if you can see how raised up it is. I've used quite thick threads on the leaves and some perlé on the flowers. Then I decided to go around the flowers. I know Rachel did that on one of hers, but it sort of made sense to do it on this because the actual design of the flower does have this red line all around it, and it's only partially painted. So I found I was really enjoying this, and so that's what's happening for my March 3rd panel. I actually am doing it. Never, what is that saying? Better late than never. Anyway, very enjoyable. So I think it's been a fair while since I made a video. What I did recently was went up to have a visit to some friends up at Ballarat, and while I was up there, Susanna's retreat was on, so I had a little pop in and said hello, which was lovely. Saw the ladies, saw their work, saw what Susanna was up to with her panel, saw a little bit of her next year's panel that she's working on for next year's retreat. I have to say, if you're a bit of a quilting lady, it would be a great retreat. Not that they're all quilting, they are doing a bit of slow stitching. Corinne from To Be Loved Treasures by Corinne was there, and she was working on all manner of things. We had a lovely catch up and gave her a lift back to the hotel near the airport when her flight was delayed because of all the Queensland storms. All in all, it was quite fun, but I was just going to say that the Bowls Club out there in Sebastopol is really lovely. It's really quite a good size for a workshop. Very nice. So I did manage, I just really wanted a rest, so I wasn't really doing a whole heap of op shopping or anything like that, and I didn't really get very much, but I did manage to find out that the Ballarat Officeworks was so much better than the Officeworks just around my local area. It was like double the size, and the art supplies were fabulous, like really, really good art supplies. So just coming around and finishing off this last bit. Did manage to pop in to the little shop in Balan, the Milrose. It's always a great little spot. Had coffee with the ladies and then popped into Milrose on the way after the coffee and on the way back with Corin. And you know, it's one of those shops, I guess it's a little bit like Beck's Sobe in Newcastle. It's got all sorts of treasures there, and so I picked up a couple of little just eighths. Like I say, I wasn't thinking I wanted to buy very much at all. I know I've got a fair bit of a clean up to do around here, so buying more things is not on the cards. So I just got some, you know, like yellow bits of material. Nothing much to show for myself. I was working on some stitch designs mostly, and really just realised with my Inktense I wanted a different colour pink than I had. I didn't have a particular pink. That's why I went to Officeworks. Alright, so let me just cast this off. Anyway, it was a lovely, lovely little weekend. Nice to get away. I wasn't actually thinking there was much getting away happening this year, so it was nice to have a little bit of a getaway. Okay. So I am now thinking I probably am going to put a little bit of rosy sort of colour on this, just that last little bit on that flower, and I'll have to make up my panel. So let me just get this one as a size reference. And I'm thinking that these are going to create a sort of just a pop arty kind of look for a vase. So I'm probably cutting this out, this panel. In fact, I am cutting that panel out. So there's no indication of which way up this goes, but I think I like it like this just simply because this reminds me of this Jasper Johns flag a bit. Got this patterning. So I think, unless I'm going to do it this way, this doesn't have relevance because it's the wrong way. And it doesn't reference pop art in the background either. So, bye-bye snippet. And here I go. So look at whether this is part of a vase. It could very well be, or whether this, I'm just determined to use my little snippet. It's not very pop art. That's not very, I mean, that's okay. It's not absolutely pop art. I'm thinking I might be better off getting, this isn't perhaps the material I'd want to use, but just looking at that tin of tomato soup, tin, let's see, just going to get it to the right proportion. I think would be about that. This may not be the material I use. I'm just doing a mock-up at the moment because it really only just came together this morning, and I think I haven't watched the videos yet, but I think the next prompt would have come out yesterday. So I haven't watched the videos because I just wanted to see if I was finishing this and moving on, or if I was just going straight to the next video. But I think I like my idea of a bit of a pop art journey on this. So this could even be over like that. And I think I like the idea of finding like a bright solid colour like the yellows for the background. So I'm going to look for something in this colour palette amongst my stash. One second. Okay, so I've got my little tub of mostly yellows, some bits of orange, and the first thing that's caught my eye is this. I remember this was from my op shop haul, Holbrook or somewhere like that, some trip up the coast. Just thinking also about Andy Warhol's pictures of Marilyn Monroe, where there's the multiple little squares. So I might like to do it a bit like that. My tin of soup. I thought I was going to do this all in one episode, but I think this is a more than one episode. So something, oh, now I've got some more. So whether I want to just use all the yellow because it's bright, but in a patchworky kind of way. Yeah, I don't mind that. I like the texture of this. Doing a Campbell soup type of replica is, it's not bad. It's not a bad thing to use quite a textured, because this is a, you know, it's a representation. So the Campbell soup tins are very, very white with just this, you know, with just this black and white line work and then this solid red. So it's not complicated. So I'm thinking I can actually have some texture to add that bit to it. I mean, it's just a vase of flowers, that's all. I thought I'd call it another vase of flowers, or no, not another vase of flowers. Maybe that's what I'll call it, not another vase of flowers, with a Andy Warhol reference to a tin of soup. Just looking through my stash, I've got this, oh, I quite like that. Just using up my scraps. I might like this as a tin of soup. I'm going to have to go and work out what tin of soup I'd like to make it. This is going to require more work than I was thinking I was doing on this, and then I'll be behind on my next one as well. That's what happens. But how about that? All right, well, this is short. We've still got a bit of juggling around here in the house that's going on, that's delaying me a little bit. Nora flies out first thing tomorrow, so I guess my regular programming might start back up again now that we're sorting out what's happening for the next 6 months or a year with Lily being here and stuff like that. Right, I'm back, and let me catch you up with where I got to. So this is the batting I use. It's relatively thin, and it's a bamboo batting. So I've put all my pieces on the batting, stitched it all down, stitched down my flowers in my sort of pop arty kind of vase. It's not 100% pop art, of course. I've put this here as a soup label, and I've put my date to stitch over, and I've called it Pop Art Another Vase of Flowers. Now, when I was thinking about this tin of soup, I was thinking, how am I going to do that? I have to draw it, then I have to maybe transfer it onto some material. So this is what I've made, Roxy's condensed stitch soup. I've printed it out. First I'll show you my process. So this is Matilda's own inkjet printable fabrics. Now, it is $20 odd, and you only get 5 sheets, so it's really $4 a sheet. So you can't just mess around and print out a few different versions like you might with paper. So I worked out that this was the size I needed. So when I've printed it out, I've printed it all on one sheet, so I've got 3 spares and the one that'll fit. But let me show you how I did it. I'm working backwards here, so I just have to say that with this Matilda's, sorry about the noise, it doesn't go through my printer as is. For some reason, it just won't go through my printer, so I just put a bit of glue stick along the top of that and use a normal bit of printer paper, and that way it grasps it. I think the reason it doesn't go through is because the backing plastic is quite shiny and the little feet don't grab it. Anyway, it's wonderful stuff. And then you just work out how to get your edge up there. You peel off the backing, and it's actually quite a thin material to work with. I love it. It's really good, if not a bit expensive. So let me just show you. I have to have a word here. I'm taking this off because there have been a number of YouTubes where I have seen people show what their passcode is, what their password for their banking, and they've done it like this and shown it, like, you know, gone like that and done it on camera, thinking they're off camera. So I'm just actually, if I can work that out, someone else can that's maybe not a desirable person. So let me take this out. So let's be a little bit more careful, ladies. Okay, so I've got my Procreate program. This was my original one that I was sort of messing around with. So I went through, now this was my first layer. For some reason it's ended up being on a grid and dark. I must have hit a button, but I've put in the original Campbell's Soup can by Andy Warhol, And then what I've done is drawn it. It's not showing the way I drew it. I'll just show this because this is actually how it looked before I somehow made it like a mask or whatever. When you upload, this reverts back to this. So I just thought I'm not going to mess around with it because that was the original design and I didn't want to accidentally erase it and have to draw the whole thing again. But you can see the line work is from me sketching over the original tin. Then what I've done is dropped in the Roxy's. So I've dropped in the soup. You can see it on this, hopefully. I've dropped in the stitch, soup, the Roxy's, and there's the Roxy's. And the word condensed. I've made the word condensed very faint, and I will show you why. Then there's other ways. You just go to your, when you've got your page the way you want it. So got that and that one. You can just go to this little spanner thing, and it's got share, choose whether you want PDF or JPEG, and it'll export it, and you can have a look and say either save image where it will go into your photos, or you can save to files so you've got a file for later. So that's how it works. That's how I made it. That was good fun. Loved it. Really thought that was quite fun to do that and quite cute. So now I have got to do, first off, I've got to finish off this. So I'm just going around and see there's these little pale pinky red areas. I'm just doing a bit of that to kind of complete my flowers. I've got 4 strands because I wanted it relatively thick. I've been enjoying that this is quite thick. So even though they're not 100% a copy of a pop art kind of piece, they've still got my unique flavour with also a flavour of pop art. That's how I've been working with all my panels, whether it's an artist and just running from the feeling I get from that artist, or running with the colour palette, how I'm working. This was a really lovely piece from Rachel and Sarah at the workshop that just really lent itself to thread painting really nicely. It wasn't a very big bit, it was just a ready cut out bit. Now I have a thought about this. I can go about this 2 ways. So firstly, I could stitch onto this before I put it down there, or I could properly cut it. It's going to be a bit smaller than that panel behind it, and stitch through all of the layers. The batting does make it a little bit harder to get through, and yeah, see, even though this is great for printing out on, it's not like butter to go through. So I'm thinking, one thing I'm thinking I'd like to do is paint around all of this and leave the words as the way that, have I got a picture? As the way the original tin is. The original tin has got a red here with the white words coming out. So I'm thinking about painting that and then stitching all the lines. The other thing that I haven't done that I'm thinking of is what to put here. This had a quite intricate design on the soup tin, but I felt I wanted to put something that represented either the Journal of Stitchery or the Roxy Girls. So I haven't thought of that yet. But this is where I'm up to. So I'm definitely signing off now, and I'll come back to do another video of this before starting to work on the fruit. So I've since watched Rachel's video and Corinne's, and Corinne's fruits look very fun to make. So I'm going to sign off now and start getting myself prepared for the next video. And thank you very much for being here. I know I've had a gap. These things happen. Nora's gone off on the airplane this morning, and I think we're getting back to regular programming now, I think. Might prove me wrong. But thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.